how we do everything. We're refusing it. We don't want to do it. We just don't. We want to stick with the status quo and keep doing. Remember, Einstein said, what did he say? The definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So we hold on to these old Negro traditions that have done nothing but lead us down the pits of slavery, have done nothing but create more misery and trauma in our lives, have done nothing but created more poverty and economic despair and financial insecurity. But we will hold on to that shit like it's an abusive boyfriend. We will hold on to that like a bad relationship. We will. We will. And I apologize for cussing. It's too early for me to be doing all that cussing. So let me stop doing that. Some of y'all got brought your kids. So I apologize on my behalf. Please apologize to the children for me. Just say, he forgive him for he knows not what he do. Okay. So what I'm saying though is that I think in order for us to really grow, we're gonna have to evolve. We're gonna have to evolve. And when the reality is that some of us will evolve and some of us won't. Some of us are going to move ahead. Some of us are going to sit still or even go backward. Some of us are going to get off the ship and get a lifeboat. Some of us are going to stay on the Titanic and just sink to the bottom of the ocean. And that's really sad. And I hate that. It makes me feel terrible. But there's a point where you got to save yourself and you got to save your kids. So one thing I will say to you, because I'm just thinking this morning about what we're doing with LeVar and racing and just the history and all this other stuff, is we got to understand that power of ownership and just realize that while there's certainly no shame in having a job, I've talked to you about that. I've explained to you how a person can be very financially secure and still be an employee. The only thing I ask you to consider is this. I ask you to consider the fact that there's a difference between working for someone because you have to versus working for someone because you want to. Let me know if you understand that there's a difference between me working with you because I have nowhere to go versus me working with you because you're the best place for me to be. Do you understand? That's what I want for you. I don't, it's not me saying, so never go out. And I need everybody, this is a point of clarity I have to make because people think, well, Dr. Boyce is saying everybody should quit their jobs and start a business. I've never said that. I don't say that. I don't say stuff like that. Or Dr. Boyce tells people not to vote. I've never told people not to vote. I don't do that. Stop that. Stop that. What I'm saying to you is put yourself in a position where you have options. Options are everything. I can make the exact same choice with options that I might have made even if I had no options, but those are two very different choices. It's one thing for me, if I pick my wife to marry my wife, it's different from me picking her because she's the best I can get and there's nobody else that wants me versus me picking her because I have choices and options and I chose you. So ultimately what I'm saying is when you're choosing your life, you're choosing the life for your kids, the best thing you can do for them is to figure out what's the best way I can give them as many options as I possibly can. Because a person that has options can breathe easier. A person that has options can sleep better at night. A person that has options does not feel the same magnitude of pressure and stress as somebody who's got nowhere to go. In fact, if you look at we often talk about things like pimping to understand capitalism, because capitalism in its worst form really is a type of pimping. It does become a type of slavery. And if you think about this, think about how a pimp thinks. A pimp does not want you to have options because it's hard to pimp somebody that has options. But it's very easy to pimp somebody that has no options. So I want you to go back and circle back, and I want you to think about how our kids get raised through the educational system, where they end up at 18, 19, or 20. And do we see millions of Black children that get to be 18, 19, or 20 that have lots of options? Or do we see a lot of kids that have nowhere to go and will take the best thing that the world offers to them? And I think that the fundamental question to ask, this is what we're asking in our think tank. When the Black Business School is a think tank. We have scholars and therapists and professors and attorneys. There's no institution out there like that. Sure, there's people teaching you little things like how to buy stock or whatever. No. But we go deeper than that. We go to the psychology. We talk to the experts. We have researchers that work on our team. So the $1 million question, the $1 trillion question is what's going on? Why are our kids getting to the age of 18 and feeling like they have no options? Because a person with no options is going to behave differently than a person who has choices. A person with no options is going to be desperate. A desperate person will degrade themselves in order to just get an opportunity. And when you look around and you see all throughout our economy, you see all throughout our society, black people degrading themselves sometimes in front of millions of people, embarrassing their whole family, embarrassing their culture, just looking ridiculous. Well, why are they doing that? Well, because they don't have any options. Because if they had options, they could have dignity and integrity. See, so putting yourself in a position where you have options, it protects and defends your integrity, which ultimately protects and defends your freedom. A free man cannot go through life with no options. Options and freedom are connected. They're like cousins. They're related to each other. So just process that. And I'm gonna tell you, when you're the boss, you got a lot of options. When you own assets, you have a lot of options. When you own real estate, when you're the landlord, you got options. When you're the producer, you have options. When you're the consumer, your options are defined by the producer for the most part. When it's in fact, I tell you this. This is an interesting example. Since we're doing financial consciousness, I'm gonna share this with you because this came to me. I was on Twitter. I say a lot of stuff on Twitter, and so people will argue with me, and beef with me on Twitter and stuff. I don't beef back. I don't beef with anybody. I beef with white supremacy. I beef with the racial wealth gap. I don't beef with other black people. That's not interesting to me. Um, and so this guy gets in here, and I think I said something like, "Are you teaching wealth to your children?" And he mentioned that he had his children in a class called I think it was called like consumer mathematics or consumer finance or something like that. And I didn't tell him he was wrong. I didn't say that's stupid. Why would you do that? I wouldn't do that. I kind of just said the word consumer. Um, there's not a lot of power in being a consumer in the United States. The consumer is kind of it's like the Kentucky Derby. It's like you have the jockey and then the horse. The consumer is the horse. The horse does all the work but doesn't get any of the credit or any of the money. So the consumer is a very important part of the economy without a doubt. But the consumer doesn't benefit from their contribution to the economy. There's no wealth that you build by being a constant consumer. When they were training black people how to be a savvy consumer, no, if you a consumer all the time, then you ain't savvy. Ain't no the words savvy and consumer should not be in the same sentence. I'm not saying that you shouldn't consume. We all consume. All of us buy stuff. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but I am saying that that if you're full-time consumer and you're not producing anything and you're not investing in anything and you're not benefiting from the economy, then that's like a person eating dinner and all they eat is sugar. Imagine if every time we sat down for dinner, all I ate was ice cream and chocolate cake and sugar cubes or whatever. Think about it. It wouldn't take me very long before I was literally dead. Like I would literally gain like 500 pounds and then I get diabetes and then I just be dead. Right. And so consumption is a little bit like sugar. Right. I think a little bit of sugar intake is not going to be bad for you. It's not going to harm you, but there's a recommended daily allowance of sugar. And just to speak on that, which is really interesting, which speaks to the power of money and how money drives politics. The World Health Organization came out with a recommendation that they said, look, we only want people to take in this much sugar because sugar is linked to a lot of problems. It's linked to obesity and diabetes and cancer and strokes and dementia and all this other stuff. I mean, sugar is terrible, right? In case y'all don't know, how many of y'all know this? Has anybody been following? Give me a guess if you've been following all the research on sugar. Like by the time I got finished reading all that, my whole view on sugar has shifted. I said, man, this stuff is worse than cocaine. Good Lord. And actually they did that study where they gave the mice, the rats that were cocaine addicted, they gave them a choice between cocaine and sugar water, and they passed the cocaine up to get the sugar water. So it's really bad, right? And then processed sugar. Thank you. Okay, yeah, and but modest amounts of sugar are not so bad. Natural sugar versus processed sugar. Thank you for making that point. I'm not a health expert, so if I say something wrong, just please forgive me for doing that. However, I'm doing my best, right? So here's the thing. So a little bit of sugar is okay. And what happened was the health organization made a recommendation of a certain amount of sugar that you should take in each day. And they wanted to reduce the amount because they said people are eating too much sugar. And do you know what happened? I forgot what the documentary was that did this, but they basically said that the food industry, I don't know if it was food and drug or just the food industry, they went to Capitol Hill and lobbied and got the U.S. government to tell the World Health Organization that if you don't change back the recommended amount of sugar to the higher amount, we're not going to give you the money that we owe you. They owed them like $50 million or something, or 100 million or something. They said, we're not going to give you that money if you drop that recommended daily allowance. We need you to keep that high because we've got so much sugar in our economy. This is what money kind of does. This is how money distorts so many things, right? So money is good, but money is powerful, and power can be used for good or it can be used for evil. And all throughout a capitalist society, you're going to see a little bit of both. So long story short, um, consumption is a little bit like sugar in the sense that a little bit of sugar, it can be okay, but you don't want your whole meal to be sugar, and you want the healthy food to outweigh the unhealthy food. So one thing that I wanted to propose is I mentioned to you all the $5 a day plan, and I was trying to think. I was like, it reminds me of like fast food, and I was like, what would it take to get people to consider very basic idea that it is similar to what I actually explained to the 17-year-old. I don't know if I told you. I talked to one of my daughter's friends who's 17, and she was asking me about investing, which of course, that got me going because so I was telling her what I knew. And one thing I told her was, I said, with investing, I don't want you to overthink it, but I need you to do it. I need you to do it consistently. I said, so in fact, let me just show you really quickly how to buy a share of stock. And I said, you can do this while you're in the drive-thru. I said, what company do you want to own? She said, I don't know, Chipotle. I said, okay, let's buy some Chipotle. So I showed her how to look it up, and I said, here, you just type it in, and then the ticker symbol comes up, this three-letter symbol that represents the company. And then let me just show you, we're going to buy $200 worth of Chipotle. The price of the stock is $3,100, but we don't need 3,100. We only need $200. So let's buy, they call those fractional shares. So let's buy, and we bought the Chipotle stock in about a minute and a half. And when we got done, she was like, that is so cool. And I got it. I was like, yeah, it is, right? It's very cool. Look at us. I said, now our family owns Chipotle. How cool is that? Right. So the point was to say, I said, the way I want you to kind of think about it is, I don't want you to think about it too much. A lot of times when it comes to investing or wealth building, people get stuck. They get paralysis of analysis because they just overthink it. They're too worried. Like, well, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to buy. I don't know how to. I said, don't overthink it. I said, here's what you do. I said, give yourself. I said, so here's what I want most people to understand. If you were to take the same amount of money that we spend on fast food and put that same amount of money into your stock portfolio consistently, nearly every single person in this room would be rich. Especially if you did this for say 20 years, if you were to take the amount of money you spent on fast food or going out to eat and put that same amount of money in the S&P 500, or if you had some sort of matching program, that's what I told her. I said, give yourself like a little matching program. I said, you can go buy the Air Jordans, but when you buy the Air Jordans, buy you some Nike stock to go with it. Same dollar amount. You can buy the new iPhone, get the new iPhone. I want you to be cool. But then when you buy the new iPhone, just promise yourself, I'm going to put the same amount of money into Apple stock. Right? When you go to Chipotle, eat what you want. But then get on your little app and then say, I spent $25 at Chipotle. Let me buy $25 worth of Chipotle stock so I can make money on both ends. Right? I'm consuming on one side, and then I'm a producer on the other. Right? So actually, what I was thinking like our $5 a day plan, it really came from fast food. It really came from me saying, $5 a day, you can't even buy a McDonald's value meal for that. What if we invested that same amount in addition to buying the food? So I was thinking like something cool to call it might be like the financial value meal or something, or maybe like I was thinking like maybe a cool slogan would be to go from fast food to financial freedom, or the pocket change portfolio or something like that, right? So I want you to think about investing in that same way. I want you to think about wealth building in the same way, that literally the amount of money in your pocket change is enough to change your life and change the lives of your children, especially if you do this consistently over a long period of time. And what that does is that opens doors, that creates that powerful word, options. Now, typically you hear me talk about options in terms of stock options, No, I'm talking about options. You've always known what options are. You may not know what a stock option is, but you know what an option is. You know what it feels like to have options and to not have options, right? So just that little financial value meal, pocket change portfolio, whatever you want to call it, I want you to think about it that same way. And I want you to give yourself and your children a chance to have a great future by simply just saying to yourself that as much as I'm going to give them, I'm going to give myself. As much as I'm investing in him, I'm going to invest in these kids. As much as I'm investing in the present, I'm going to invest in the future. And if you do that, if you make that one little pivot in your life, that one little transition, I guarantee you it will change everything. Don't overthink it. Don't get scared. Don't get caught up in all the mumbo jumbo. A lot of people that will talk to you about investing, they'll use fancy long words because they're trying to impress you with how smart they are and how much they know. Because some of them don't know jack. I know more than Jack. I know Jack to the 12th power, so I don't have to impress you with long words. In fact, I'd rather impress you with simplistic ways of looking at complex concepts. I think the strength is in the simplicity. So I've gone through the complex stuff so I can lay it out to you in a very simple way. And all I'm telling you is that investing is nothing for you to be afraid of. It's so simple that your 4-year-old could do it. And the reason your 4-year-old could probably do it better than some of us is because the 4-year-old is not going to overthink it. Do you understand? Stick with the S&P 500. Pick a new S&P 500 stock every week. That's it. You do that. If you do that, the hard part is being consistent. The hard part is patience. The hard part is letting time do what it's going to do. It's like planting a seed. If I plant, my wife showed me how to plant stuff in the garden, and I was really shocked by how easy it was. I was like, I don't know how to plant stuff in the garden. I don't know nothing about no gardening woman. I don't know nothing about how to plant and be planting no seeds, right? So she's like, no, Boyce, it's easy. Let me show you. So she got some stuff from, I think it was Home Depot, right? She bought this stuff, and I was like, oh, I didn't know you could just buy the little seeds. And she bought it. She said, let me show you. And so we sat there, and I was like, oh, I can do it. I know how to, I plant. So I planted something. And you know what I did? I put it in the dirt, covered it up, and then I didn't do anything else. I waited. I waited. And after I waited, a few months later, she comes in and she says, Boyce, look at the tomatoes you grew. And I'm like, yes, I did that. I grew tomatoes, but I don't know anything about gardening. Well, that's, so she taught me how to not overthink it. So what I'm saying to you is that building wealth really is like being a financial gardener. That's really what it is. It's about doing the little task and then letting time do what it's supposed to do and understanding a basic simple idea. Simple idea. And I talk about this a lot in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. The simple idea is that the more seeds you plant, the more of a harvest you're going to have. How about that? How about that for a mind-blowingly complex concept that most people don't understand? The more seeds you plant, the more of a harvest you will have. And then the more time you allow to pass, the more time your harvest will have to grow. So it's planting seeds and allowing time to do what it's supposed to do. Planting seeds and giving it time. So planting and patience, double P, PP. Planting and patience. That's it. And it's, you'd be amazed when I explain it this way, how many people don't get that? You'd be amazed how many people literally will go out in their garden and be like, damn, ain't no harvest out here. Ain't no food out in this garden. Ain't no, they're talking about their financial garden. There's no food out here in the garden, but they didn't plant anything. So why would you expect something to grow if you didn't plant anything? And you ask them, well, did you plant? And you know that the more seeds you plant, the bigger your harvest will be. And they're like, what? Oh, I did it. What did you what you oh I know what it is. I know what it is. You were trained to believe that the white man's going to show up and magically deliver food to you in your garden. That's what you thought was going to happen. You thought that this magical Harry Potter type of crap is going to happen where they're going to just show up and say, here's a basket full of food. Good luck. And that is what we are trained to do when it comes to economics. I don't think we understand that basic idea. Plant your seeds, plant them often. The more you plant, the bigger your harvest will be. And then let time do what it's supposed to do. So the same way my wife taught me how to plant tomatoes, and they were good. They were juicy. They were in the salad. I was so proud. I mean, I really felt good eating tomatoes I planted. I felt like I really had done something. And here's the thing. I wasn't any better or any smarter that day than I was the week before I learned how to plant tomatoes. It's just I had somebody that guided me to take action. Do you understand? I had somebody that simply said to me, "Look, Boyce, you have everything that you need. You just need confidence." Do you understand? That she said, "You can do this." And I'm like, "I can't do this. I don't know what to do." No, you can. You just have to try. So maybe that's part of my role in your life is to guide you and to say, "You can do this. You just got to try. Stop being scared. It's not hard." And when you do it, you probably won't be a whole lot smarter than you are right now. You got everything you need already inside of you. You just got to pull it out. Because sometimes and you'd be amazed at how much confidence plays a part in us really truly manifesting who we're supposed to be. Confidence is really everything. If I had a choice between being a mediocre person with a lot of confidence versus being an extraordinary person who is unconfident, I would much rather be the mediocre person with a lot of confidence because really confident people can take their little mediocrity and really milk that damn thing. They can get the most out of their mediocrity. They'll have you thinking their mediocrity is something extraordinary. Look at how many artists you hear on the radio who are mediocre performers. Can't sing a lick, can't keep a note, can't even dance, but will literally be the biggest artists in the world because they took their mediocrity and mass marketed that mediocrity and put a lot of confidence on top of it, and people bought into it. But then you have a lot of people that have extraordinary ability that are amazing that could do anything, but nobody ever helped them to see what they actually had. So they spend their lives looking for what they think is excellence coming from other people when really the whole time the gold was buried in your backyard. And for most of you, and I know a lot of you, I know how you think. I know there's a reason why you're here. Most of you have already done some things in your life that are pretty extraordinary. Most of you have went to school. A lot of you have raised kids. A lot of you have overcome obstacles. A lot of you have broken generational curses. Most of you are leaders in your family because most Black people don't think this way. They're not in that Marcus Garvey, Dr. Claude Anderson frequency. So you're a leader. You're already the talented 10th. Like you're already in that special space. So what maybe my job is to be that cheerleader to kind of say, come on now, we got this. Let's just put some confidence on top of it and go out here and just do the damn thing. And you're not going to be perfect. You're going to get some stuff wrong. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have things that you don't know, but you just go hard. I mean, what? You want to wait for these mediocre bastards out here to take the lead? Why would I let you drive the bus when you can't even drive? And I'm mad because I got a 99 out of 100 on my driver's test thinking that I'm not qualified, but you got a 0, but I'm letting you drive because the idiots are the ones who have the most confidence sometimes. Sometimes the dumbest person in the room thinks that they're the smartest. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes the person who knows the least walks around like they know the most because the person who knows the most knows enough to know that they don't know everything. You understand? The smart person knows how little they know. The dumb person thinks they know everything. So the dumb person takes the lead. And next thing you know, you're being led by a bunch of dumbass people. And that explains Black entertainers in a nutshell. Our community is led in many cases by the people who are the least qualified to lead. So what I'm saying is that in my view, the real leaders need to jump to the front, push them out the seat, and take over the damn bus before they drive the thing off a damn cliff. That's what has to occur. That's what has to happen. I don't have anything else to say today. I've been talking for 40 minutes, and my goal is to do 30 to 45 minutes each morning so I don't overwhelm you. I want to give you something to think about. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you allow me, I want to mention a couple things we have going on in the Black Business School. Number one, don't forget the Get Money Fest is in Philadelphia on May 18th. So if you live in the Philly area, you want to fly in, you can go to getmoneyfest.com. I'll actually put the link in the chat. Number two, I hope that you will support something that we're doing. We really want, speaking of supporting smart people in the community, we have a YouTube channel called Fly Nubian Queen, and it has 500,000 subscribers, 581,000 to be exact. It's got 1 billion views, and it features intelligent Black women that are doing great things. And so what they actually started to do, Tiara KJ Williams is doing this project where they're bringing smart Black women on every day at 1 p.m. Eastern. Every day, 1 p.m. Eastern, these intelligent Black women, they're going to talk about money, but they're also going to talk about all the other things happening in the community. So I hope that you'll join and support the sisters, because sometimes the internet can be mean to Black women. And I want some people in there that love Black women, that want to support them and encourage them along. So if you want to be notified when they go live, and they're going to do this every single day at 1 p.m., just text the word Queens to 87948. So if you could do that for me, just pull out your phone, text the word Queens, Queens with an S, to 87948, and you'll get notified when they go live. And I hope you'll come in and kind of cheer them on, make some comments, hit the like and share, and just kind of give them something to be proud of. Because I really think that we live in this world where, unfortunately, for whatever reason, somebody decided that Black women are most interesting when they're twerking, and I don't agree with that. I think Black women are most interesting when they're thinking, when they're leading, when they're being the great mothers and providers and whatever else that they are in our community. All the things that Black women do, I want to celebrate that, right? So this is what we do. So feel free to join them later on today. All right. So the other quick thing to mention is tonight at 7 p.m. Speaking of options, we are going to do a meeting of the Prime program, the passive recurring income machine, where I show my portfolio in terms of how I generate income selling stock options. So if stock options are of interest to you and you want to join us tonight, you can go to drboyceprime.com. That's drboyceprime.com, and you can sign up and join us. A lot of you are Prime members already, so shout out to you, those of you that are here. But we will be meeting tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. You'll get a text tonight from me, and also on Saturday, I'm going to do a Q&A for the beginners. So if you're a beginner to this and you're not sure what to do, the Q&A on Saturday will be for beginners. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful day. God bless you. Make sure you get on the text list to get reminded when we do Money in the Morning. We do this every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you want to be on the text list, text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. Text morning to 87948, and I will see you guys soon. Have a great day. God bless you, and